Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Kami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Kami Owen. Hello, hello, hello. This is Donna and
Dr. Kami.
Yay! And we're here again for a new day for you with Donna and Dr. Kami. And today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people really don't know anything about. I didn't know anything about it for years. I didn't have language for what I knew inside my heart. You know, when you're little kids and your kids just are running on the playground and doing their thing, you know. And then we grow up and we become adults and we wear shoes and then all of a sudden we're working in high rises or we're working on cement all the time and we forget what it's like to be like a child and just be in touch with the freedom that comes with being a child. We're going to talk about the topic called grounding. And I even said a few minutes ago, I said, okay, what's the definition of grounding for somebody who's literally never heard of it in their entire life? It's a foreign language. Let's start at the simplicity.
It's literally touching the earth with your body and letting your body discharge all the positive charge so the electrons can actually enter your body. It's how we are energized on the earth. So think of it like the way that we are a battery and the earth is our charger. That's the most elementary way I can put it.
So are you saying that when you said a negative charge coming in, can you explain to us in simple terms?
Yes.
Is there a side of our body that's negative and a side of our body that's positive or something? I mean, what does all that mean?
Well, glad you asked, Donna.
Oh,
I will be happy to tell you. So,
this is her thing.
This is my thing.
Yay!
This is my jam. What I want to say first is a lot of times when I say negative and positive, people are equating that with good and bad. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about literally positive charged particles and negative charged particles. Much like if you take a battery and you take two batteries and you put the negative against the negative,
red and the black,
or the black and the black, you can literally feel them repelling each other. This is a good thing. This is what we want in our red blood cells. So when I say grounding, it is required for life. You have to have grounding. It's one of the things they had to really work out with astronauts and when they're leaving the planet. How do we keep them grounded with the correct negative charge, or there's Houston, we will have a problem.
Oh wow.
For sure. So that was a big issue, but there was a lot of research that went into it, so we can benefit from that research of grounding. But you've had this experience in your life, I know you have, where you go to the beach and you walk on the beach and you put your feet in the sand, and you get this calm feeling. It's why people love being on the beach and they feel that calm and serenity. It's not you just imagining it. There's a physiological thing happening when you're on the beach.
Wow.
You're discharging all this positive charge and influxing negative charge. Our body needs negative charge. Our body requires negative charge. So every single cell in your body needs a negative 20 millivolt charge to work correctly. Every single solitary cell. So if you don't have a negative charge on the cell, it can't function correctly. If it can't function correctly, it can't replicate correctly. And so when you have a sick cell that replicates, it replicates as another sick cell, and it makes a bunch more sick cells. So we want our cells to replicate correctly and have a good negative charge. So it's one of the reasons, and I'm going to go there. I'm going there.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
And I'll interpret.
Now, I'm going there as far as what happened with the COVID vaccine. I'm going to say it. You want me to cut that?
We're going to chat for a minute while you're here with us, because isn't this reality?
Yes,
we have these conversations.
Yes.
What about we refer to the liquid that was demanded to come into our bodies, that most of us with a different kind of sense decided no. And then there's some that said yes. So was there something that caused that to be a positive or a negative charge?
Well, what that liquid did was remove what's called the zeta potential on the red blood cell. So every cell has this negative charge, and again, we talked about the negative side of the battery and the negative side of the battery pushing each other apart. And if you don't have enough zeta potential, even cardiologists know about zeta potential. It's one of the things we're checking with the EKG, the electrical impulses going through the heart.
Okay.
So even mainstream medicine understands this positive and negative charge. But this negative charge was stripped away when this liquid was entered into the body. That's why we're seeing so much clotting. Everybody's clotting.
Oh, yes.
So, and I actually have been studying this for 3 years now, and we can look at it on live blood analysis and see after certain remedies that I've developed over the last 3 years, you can actually reinstill that negative charge of that zeta potential. You can see those red blood cells just get nice and round again and function how they're supposed to. So the oxymoron with the body is that we require a negative terrain, a negative charge for our body to function correctly, but almost every single reaction in the body produces a positive charge. So it's a very astute balance. We're acid-making machines, which also produce a positive charge, and we require a negative charge. So how do you do that? What's that about? And there's lots of ways to remedy that, but grounding is the cheapest, easiest way that's available to everybody that's on the planet. So that's why it's so important to go out and be in nature and touch a tree. Like all the tree huggers back in the day, they were onto something.
Yes.
They were actually onto something. But that's what's required, and not through cement, like actual dirt on your feet. So yeah, there's we have a sick care system, and what we need to change that, to transform that, is there has to be a focus on wellness. The issue with that is there's zero training in wellness in the world of mainstream medicine. I am not here to say that doctors, healthcare workers, they're good people. They get into the profession to help, and they get, in school they can get it beat out of them, to actually see a human being on the other side of it. I've ran into those practitioners. I've been that practitioner at times when I'm just swimming and in the emergency room, and they're coming in, and you're just ineffective at that point of being a human being to a human being. You're now just a practitioner doing the thing that's going to keep them from dying right this second. And that's really all you can offer. And I've been on the other side of that, where I could help transition. I have helped hundreds and hundreds of people transition from this realm to the next, and I know that it made a difference that I was there that day, that I was in that position at that time. And it's amazing. But going back to grounding and why it's required, it's required for us to function normally and health, have a health. So there's many things that you can do to ground. There's some that cost money and some that don't cost money, and we can talk about all of them in between. The one that doesn't cost money, like I said, is go out, put your feet on the ground, walk around, be in nature, but connect to the physical. Okay.
Can I in segue one little thing? I don't know if you know, but did you know that plants are alive? So when she's talking about grounding with nature, we laughed earlier about hugging a tree. Did you know that you can actually attach these mechanisms to plants, and they have a vibration, and they actually sing.
Yes.
There's a voice that comes out of them. And you are the ones who'd shared, because I bought a plant wave.
Mm-hmm.
And we've measured my basil tree, found the sound on that. I found the sound on myself. We attached them to ourselves and found our song. It's very fascinating. And it sounds ooey, but honestly, it's just not. Scientific things we don't talk about.
Yep.
And so when she's saying ground, it's because the nature is alive.
Yes, the earth is a natural being alive.
Yes, and we need that life.
Putting out a frequency in the 7.48 hertz realm is what we require. And it's cool you talk about the plants. One other little fun tidbit about plants. They were able to show us quantum entanglement, or an example of quantum entanglement. You're like, okay, you're going off in the weeds here in this quantum stuff, but we are actually, again, all connected. So we're connected with the earth. So when we separate ourselves from the earth, our body feels it because it's required, because we are actually connected. So they did a study with plants, and they started out with a device much like what you're talking about, where they could hear them scream. They could hear the plant scream. And what they found, it was more like a lie detector device than it was the song. But they noticed, they hooked it up to these plants, and they noticed when they were going in to actually cut the plant would scream before it was being, because they're beings, they're a consciousness, they have a consciousness. But what they found is they went in and asked the permission of the plant and said, I appreciate, I'm grateful for your contribution to me as to eat you and have food and everything. The plants did not scream before they.
It's phenomenal.
Yes. But here's another, now we look at the quantumness of it. Excuse me. They took plants that were in one room, and then they had plants in the other room. And these plants that were about to get cut, this when they were still making them scream, those plants screamed as well, without having any knowledge.
Because they're connected.
Because they're all connected. And then they've done the same thing with human cells, where they took an airline pilot that was flying all over the world, and they took his cells, and then they had something, they were stimulating the cells, and they wanted him to, if he had any kind of emotion or any kind of feeling or something happened, to write it down, because they were going to monitor these cells. And there were many times where one time he got hurt and the cells screamed, and he was 1,000 miles away from his cells. So we are quantumly entangled like that with everything, each other, the earth, plants. That's why, I believe one of the things with blessing your food is also to transmute the energy, the negative energy that's in that food, for however it was collected, whether you were, so even if it didn't happen when the food was collected, whether it's plants or animals, to at that time transmute that energy by giving thanks and grace to the actual meal.
So what's coming to my mind, and she may go, no, but intention.
Yes.
So if you intend to harm, that plant knew it, right? But when you thanked that plant, and had a relationship with that plant, then the plant was fine. And for those of you who might have a background in Christianity or religion or in some of the sacred books, there's a passage in the New Covenant that basically just says, we weep with those who weep, and we rejoice with those who rejoice. And many times people take it and say, well, if you're weeping, you weep. If you're in there, it's just one or the other. But actually, at the same time, some of us are weeping and some of us are rejoicing all at one time. And we all feel it. There have been times when I felt this depth of something and not known. And there are times when I never knew. But then there are times when I would think about someone and go, wow, I wonder how they are. And I'd call them that divine insight, divine intelligence. And I would find out, oh, they're having a horrible day, or someone just passed away, or something like that. And then also, I don't know if you've ever seen Intelligent Trees. That's the whole ghost. I think it's called Intelligent Trees. I think it's called Intelligent Trees. Listen, not that I'm plugging Netflix or whatever, but go look at intelligent trees because it shows the connectedness she's talking about. It shows how they take care of each other. They're like a whole kingdom where they love each other.
Well, in the world that the earth is a being, our trees are the wisdom and the memory.
Oh, it's amazing.
So, and then also, not to plug Amazon Netflix again, but Amazing Fungi is another really amazing documentary on fungus and how fungus is actually the neural network that connects everything in the physical world.
Oh my!
And especially trees and the roots of trees and everything. It's pretty amazing.
Is that why they? And because in the intelligent tree, there was a stump that was like they lost count of how old it was, like hundreds or thousands, whatever years old, and it should have been dead. And then when you really followed the root system, like miles and miles away, you'd find these younger trees, younger roots had been feeding it the whole time, and that the young knew to take care of the old.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's mind blowing.
Which is a lesson we could take in this country as far as how we
care for the elderly,
care for our older
or
generation.
for those that are just sick and feeble.
Yes,
the weaker.
The weaker, yes, and forgetting that there's so much wisdom there that we just discard. So shame on us, but anyway, back to grounding.
We'll get around to the ground.
Yes, there are devices that you can use. Grounding blankets. There's straps you can actually strap to your wrist and sleep with them. But what it's doing in realistic terms is it's putting your body in this rest and repair state, and then giving the electrons that it needs to actually use to rest and repair and regenerate. So that's why doing it at night is very helpful, because you're sleeping, you're resting and repairing, and you eat food to have the raw materials to be able to make matter. The electrons are in that next level realm that have enough energy to actually energize those processes. So it's pretty awesome.
So, my goodness gracious. So in grounding, you're literally meaning our feet on the ground, our body on the ground.
Yes.
You're not talking about just a centering or taking a place of peace.
No, that's
We're
a different
talking about
thing.
Physical grounding.
That's a different
thing.
Hug
a tree.
Yes.
Walk on the
touch
sand.
The earth.
Touch the earth. Yes. And take a moment because whether you think it or feel it or anything, it doesn't matter. There's a charge.
Yes.
So can you explain, this world of like alkaline and acid, the water world, right?
Yes.
I like we have a machine where it produces something called 2.5, which is called acid water, and it produces 11, which is alkaline or high. This is electrically charged.
Yes.
So
there's a direct.
Why is that number higher I thought the 11 was positive.
No, that's a negative charge.
And but in my mind, because of what plus and minus mean.
Yes.
Can you kind of bridge that so we have clarity?
Yes, I can, because there's actually a direct relationship between negative and the pH. And actually, some voltmeters have a switch. You can be in the pH or the actual charge, positive or negative. And in the world of our body, our physical body, like I said before, we need a negative 20 millivolt charge for these cells to work correctly. The more positive the charge gets, the less healthy the cell is. And that also means the more acidic that environment is.
Is that what makes blood get sticky?
Yes, because that zeta potential goes away.
So all they call clump up and they bleed flow and things of that nature?
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
It gets clumpy and sticky. Yes.
Okay.
So when you have the more positive charge, when you get to like a plus 30 charge, that's when you have a cancer cell. Oh. So you can take a sick cell and infuse negative charge to it, and it will actually become a healthy cell again. You can take a cancer cell that's very positively charged, put negative energy in it, and it'll just blow it up.
Okay, so let's explore this for a second. So let's say you taught me the word terrain.
Mm-hmm.
The terrain meaning my inside cells and my...
It's the soup your blood's from.
Yes. Yeah, my physical insides. Not the soul, not the spirit, but the physical part, physical, right?
Yeah.
And so in our terrain, for instance, when you helped my energy come back up with the organs, we talked about, I think, in a different show where I wasn't feeling well, and Dr. Kami helped my organs come back to function because they were at 50%. So did that also mean that my cells were operating at a lower level? How does all that work together?
Well, think of it like, for you, think of it like you were plugged into a generator instead of to the wall. So you are for people that can relate to.
And why would that have happened?
Well, there's lots of reasons. You can be leaking electrons, just like in a car. Your car is not supposed to use oil, right? The oil just runs. It can get dirty, but when your car is leaking oil, that's a problem. There's something wrong with the system. So we have the same thing that happens in our body with all the assaults, the environmental assaults and emotional assaults. All these assaults can have you leak electrons, leak energy, leak those negative charges out. So your teeth are probably the biggest one that most people leak electrons. So you can have a filling, you're going to leak chi there. You're going to leak, and I call chi electrons. It's the same thing. It's the benevolent energy or electrons running through your body. So your teeth,
the negative are leaving our body.
Electrons are a negative charge.
So we're leaking when we're we could be leaking the very substance that helps us stay healthy.
Yes.
Okay.
And so there's 7 big areas that we leak these electrons from. Our teeth is most people's number one. In this country, we yank everybody's wisdom teeth out for no good reason. It's just something that just happens. And it's no accident that cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of people in this country, because that is the meridian, that electrical circuit that runs through your body, runs through your wisdom teeth. There's 4 channels that run through your wisdom teeth, and it's all related to what's called the fire channels, which is around the heart and the heart meridian. And then every tooth has a meridian running through it. I can look in your teeth and tell you what's wrong with your body without ever asking you.
And some of you don't know what meridians are.
Yes.
And so in the most simplistic way, it's how your light goes through your body. It's where all your plugs are. It's where all your electricity is inside of you, because we are made of light. God is light. We're made of light. And that light flows through us. And when we, with our own terrain and our own decisions and what we're influenced by and what we're rubbing up against that is not good for us, it can break that. And so my question is, when you're working on, let's say you come into this awareness like, oh, I am exposed to positive stuff all the time. My immune system doesn't work the way it should. How do you work on the terrain, but at the same time, work on raising, and because you got me charged, it's great, but how do I maintain that? Because you helped me for a couple weeks.
Well, think of these channels, these systems, and I know we've talked about it on previous shows, but I'll just give a little review. Think of it like the breaker box in your house, and every energy system has a breaker, and emotions are the biggest thing that flip the breaker. And then when the breaker is flipped, then everything that's connected to that breaker is going to be at half power. It didn't flip it completely off or you die, but it may go to the thyroid and the lungs. Different channels. Different channels have different glands and different organs that it innervates. It runs through your fascia. So if you look at an old 7th grade anatomy book, you had muscles and you had the white stuff on the muscle.
That's what's on the chicken that keeps the chicken muscle together.
That's called the fascia. It's actually the most conductive, substance in the body. That's where all of this energy runs through.
Really?
Yes.
Had no idea.
Yes. So every muscle is wrapped in it. So your muscles are actually
Is that protection for them?
No, that's how they get the charge. So
Whoa.
your muscles are actually the thing that recharges this meridian system. So if you got no leaks, it's a self-contained system, like the oil in your car. But we have leaks. Think of it like a bucket. There's holes in them. We can keep putting stuff in the bucket. And it's running right out of the bottom of the bucket. So we have to plug the holes first. And that could be your teeth. It could be your thyroid. It could be your stomach, your adrenals, emotions, your immune system, and toxins. Those are the biggest things that cause leaks. So that's what I look at first when you're talking about how do you stop the madness of losing all these electrons, is plug the holes first. So I do that with a variety of ways. Acupuncture is probably the first and easiest way I do that. But then you also have nutrients that you need to be able to make the raw materials of
like
things.
Minerals and things of that nature.
Yes.
Okay.
And we can have a whole show on nutrition and everything.
Oh, indeed we can.
Yes. So that's how it happens.
Okay.
Now it's actually pretty easy to fix. But one of the things that is really good with grounding is with all these assaults that we're getting from all the dirty energy coming through, all the terrible things they put in our food
that's coming through the air right now.
Yes. And I liked what you sent me about Alexa. You know, we talk about chemtrails, and I see the heavy metal toxicity all the time in my clients. So while Donna, I talked a lot about that.
She does like to talk a lot.
I do like to talk. So we have run out of time in this episode, but we will pick this up next week.
Sure will.
See you then.
That's right. And we'll solve all your problems then, right?
Right.
We'll see you next week.
Or maybe just one.
Or maybe just one. Bye.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Kami Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.